have you.
So, Megyn, you're here on a slow news day.
Nothing's going on. Has anyone been on X in the past hour?
They're happy. That's why you know they haven't
That's right.
been on social media.
We'll update you.
Why don't you update them, Megyn?
Well, this is the first big scandal, I'd say, of the Trump administration that's on Team Rational. It's not a fake media scandal like the left tries to create for President Trump every other day. It's one of the right's own making, and it's not going well. And it has to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah. Let me just ask you, make some noise if you care about the Jeffrey Epstein scandal.
Raise your hand if it matters a lot to you. Raise your hand. So every hand of 7,000 people.
Everybody cares.
A lot. I said a lot. Every hand.
Here's what I think is happening. I don't think President Trump is focused on this. He's focused on a lot of other things which are going great, and he needs to be focused on those other things. Jeffrey Epstein's not the most important thing on his agenda by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, he's crushing it on the tariffs, foreign policy, just got nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. If not Trump, then who? Honestly. Barack Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize after 9 months in office. He had done nothing. He gave a nice speech about Muslims, and they gave it to him. So President Trump should be getting the Nobel Peace Prize, and there's all sorts of things he's focused on. I just don't think this has captured his attention quite yet. But it needs to, because it's starting to create a real hornet's nest within the administration. And I've got to be honest, I blame Pam Bondi. I'll tell you why, okay? I have nothing, yes, incompetence, yes. I have nothing against Pam Bondi as a human being. I was fine with her nomination and her confirmation, and she's been loyal to the president. And I get that President Trump needs a loyal attorney general. Look what happened with Sessions the first time. He went away, and then the next thing you know, we had the Mueller investigation, and it was a nightmare. But there are a lot of other people who can be loyal and competent in that job. Here, she is the reason that things are unraveling around this story right now that virtually all of the Republican Party cares deeply about. It's also true that Dan Bongino and Kash Patel had questions about Epstein before they took office, okay, before they went into the FBI. But once they joined the FBI, they said nothing. They kept their mouths shut about Epstein. You have not seen them, except for one joint appearance with Dan and Kash on Fox, running all over the media looking for attention on this, yes, clickbaity story. Who have you seen? Pam Bondi. She has never missed an opportunity to go on television and dangle sweet nothings that might be coming your way. Try to lead you to believe that she's got it, it's on her desk, it's coming tomorrow, you're gonna see something on Epstein. And it was a tease. So you either believe that Pam Bondi was telling the truth then, or that she's telling the truth now, but both cannot be true. She was either lying when she went on Fox News all those times saying, I've got it, we're looking at it, wait until you see it, it's horrible. Or she's lying in her 2-page memo that they released on a Sunday night at the tail end of a holiday weekend to Axios, as if Axios is where we all go for our news. Hell no. She went to someone she knew would not kick the tires on the story, and without signing the memo, dropped it in the dead of night and said, that's it, take the crumbs and be happy. Refused to come out and give a presser. Come out and give a press conference, stand there for 6 hours to the point where people are dying of boredom. They've asked all their questions. That's how you put a scandal to rest. But she wouldn't even sign her name to it. And I'm telling you, I have dollars to donuts. It's going to come out that there was internal consternation over that memo and whose name did and did not go on it and who was and was not behind it. And so now you have a situation where her words on the record on Fox News are diametrically opposed to what she put in this memo. She's embarrassed the president. She's embarrassed herself. And Dan and Kash, to the extent they've had to sign off on that, let's understand the FBI is controlled by the DOJ. FBI is subservient to DOJ. She's their boss. That they're in this position where the only comments they've made on the record as administration officials have been, we don't think he killed himself, and we don't think he got murdered. We think he did kill himself. We've looked at the tapes, and Kash to Joe Rogan saying, if I saw all these tapes of Jeffrey Epstein with little girls, trust me, I would show you, but I haven't seen it. Okay, so what they're saying now is consistent with what they've said since they joined the office, and that is one of the many reasons why this scandal is squarely on her, and I'm telling you, I'm of the cable news universe. I've seen it happen a million times. People get thirsty. They love to see themselves on television. They love to see their names in the Klieg lights. They love the attention. They love the little emails and texts and tweets and thumbs up they get after their appearance, and they can feel their star rising. And listen, internally, I'm told there's a bit of like a power struggle between Pam Bondi and another female administration official on who's going to be the top dog. You know, we've got a great bench behind President Trump. We've got JD, we've got Marco, you know, we've got Hegseth. We've got a lot of people who could potentially be next up. But there are some women who've got their eye on that role too. And I've been
maybe
told
one of
she's
them speaking at this event.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
I'm too happy a person.
No, I know. I was talking about someone tomorrow, so that might be speaking at this.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Okay.
but Megyn, you make a very astute point, and let me add to it, which is that she also brought in some of our best influencers, people that I care about deeply. Jack Posobiec, who's incredible. Libs of TikTok, Chaya, DC Drano.
Yeah.
And she gave them these binders, and she humiliated them.
Yeah.
And you guys know what I'm talking about? Where she like did this stuff with the binders?
This?
And
Yes.
you guys were upset, but you shouldn't be upset, the influencers. They were handed these binders like there was something incredible in them.
It is what you would do to an enemy. It would have been a brilliant operation had she loathed them and been looking to undermine them. The trick would have been perfect had this been Joe Biden's White House doing this to some of President Trump's most loyal supporters and media advocates. What happened was they invited all of them there to say hi to the vice president, to say hi to the president. Sure, they all went, of course. Who wouldn't go to the White House to say hello to Trump? They didn't expect anything on Epstein. So they went, they said hello, and before they knew it, they were pulled into a room with Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, and she had made the binders. She bragged about making the cover sheet that read Epstein Files, Phase 1, and she handed them out. And what Liz Wheeler, who was there, told me was that she told them, there's not that much in here, but like another trove is coming. I'm going to get it from the FBI, but like, here's Phase 1. Flash forward 14 hours earlier to when she was on with Jesse Waters on Fox News saying, oh, you're going to see some Epstein documents tomorrow. She knew they were bullshit. She knew that there was nothing in there. She told the influencers when she gave it to them, there's really nothing in here. I'm going to try to get you more. And in the meantime, then they funneled them out the back of the White House where all the press corps was. And the influencers are standing there with these binders. They didn't even know they were there for Epstein, and they looked foolish through no fault of their own. The only fault was they trusted her.
And these are some of our best people that we should have their back. Liz Wheeler's amazing, Jack Posobiec.
Yes.
And they got...
She dinged their credibility for no reason.
100%. And did they ever get an apology for that?
No, and the only way of making it up, trust me, as somebody in the media who relies on sources, the only way she could have made up for this enormous error, and truly to this day, if you believe she knew there was nothing in there, then I don't know why she did it. She just did it to make them look like fools for fun of it. But the only way she could have made up for it was to give them a scoop. That's the only way of fixing it. When you have the scoop, when you do get the second tranche, you've got to leak something to them. You've got to let them break something. She never did, but she continued to tout that she had something. She was going to get that FBI file. Then she got caught by James O'Keefe on hidden camera saying she had tens of thousands of videos of Epstein and little children. It was like, what? Well, we never heard that. We heard he was into the barely legal type, the like 18-year-olds who looked 14, but we didn't hear about children. And then because she was caught, once again, shooting off her mouth inappropriately, attorneys general of the United States normally say nothing. They say nothing.
Merrick Garland had one press conference a year.
Yes, nothing. Bill Barr, you couldn't get him to speak or say anything. Even Eric Holder was less chatty than this. So she got caught on camera, and she decided to cover up the James O'Keefe slip by then running to a real camera and being like, there are tens of thousands of videos of the children, and I'm announcing it all. So once again, she didn't give that to the influencers. And then she slides it into this memo.
So I have a dumb question. Maybe it's not dumb. So so she had doubled down on the videos. Is that correct, Megyn?
Yes, now she's tripled down.
Epstein was not the perp in every one of those videos.
So because they've been so ambiguous,
no, but
we're
let's
not
just
sure.
think about this. Unless we're led to believe that Epstein himself personally raped all these kids, children, or whatever, then isn't the statute of limitations on child rape like basically infinite?
Well,
So then why are we not indicting the people that were doing the raping that we have on video? Like, what's that all about?
Yeah.
No, you know this better than I do. So Epstein's dead. He's met his hopefully eternal fire where he deserves in the pit of hell. But if it's true, the Attorney General of the United States said, just remind me, we have thousands of videos.
She said that we've got thousands of videos showing child pornography.
And she doubled down on that. So
Tripled.
So you have to infer Jeffrey Epstein was not the only person involved in that.
Well, no, let me tell you what I've gleaned, but since she's been so ambiguous, take it with a grain of salt, okay? She won't have a presser. She won't give an interview. She won't answer any hard questions. All we get is the unsigned paper memo, 2 pages to Axios, who won't ask any questions. So what I think she's saying is that she's found, allegedly, tens of thousands of screen grabs of child pornography. They call it child sexual abuse material now, it's C-SCAN. And that's what she says they found on his hard drives, like he was into this form of porn, like off the internet. But separately, they say he had at least 1,000 victims of his.
No, okay, so but 1,000 victims, unless we are to believe he personally was after every one of those victims, there has to be some other bad guys still alive that are powerful that did something to these children. Why are we not impaneling a special prosecutor to find every single one of these powerful people that went after these kids? Like, what? Why are we putting up with this?
Yeah, I don't know. And I think you'll find out.
Am I understanding this correctly? Because I don't even remember.
I can't answer that.
I don't even know Pam Bondi said that. I can't even remember all this because it's all over. I got a thing on my desk. I got truckloads of stuff.
Yeah, no, we all have busy lives, and President Trump has a busy life, and I don't think he realizes how much she's humiliated the administration. This is a self-inflicted wound. She caused it. Again, I have nothing against Pam Bondi, but if you want to look for the villain in this story, we have found her. She is the person she's either lying now or she was lying then. There's no two ways about it. And if you accept what's in the memo, that they don't have the goods on anybody, there's no one who can be indicted, they didn't find a trove of info on other people, then why was she trying to titillate us over a child sexual abuse case for months? She was on the air repeatedly in February, in March, again in May. It's completely inappropriate. You don't play cutesy with child sexual abuse material.
So Megyn, I don't mean to interrupt. I mean, first of all, you're totally right, but the media, you've been around the space of hyper ambitious women. What is this? Analyze her for us.
Well, I think she wants to make a name for herself. What she really wants to be is a star. That's what I think she wants. That's why she runs to the cameras on Fox News. There's no other reason. Look back at the attorneys general. Seriously, do you ever remember knowing an attorney general like this? Or even having the attorney general's voice in your head? I can barely remember Merrick Garland's weird little nasally voice, but it's in there. But the average person couldn't pick him out of a lineup. Because normally attorneys general are somber, serious people who are fairly annoying, but they're schooled in the law. Pam Bondi has one trait, and I think it's why Trump chose her. She's loyal to the president. And I get it, he does need somebody loyal, especially in that position. But he has a wealth of other options.
Well, I think Judge Jeanine is amazing. Do we like Judge Jeanine? Everything I like Judge Jeanine.
Judge Jeanine would be brilliant. Harmeet Dillon would be brilliant.
So you're calling for Pam Bondi to resign or to go, but can you please tell people the breaking news? According to reports that you have verified, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino will resign if what does not happen?
If she doesn't go.
So
I only have it on Bongino.
It's all over X though.
No, I know, but let me just tell you what my reporting is. Bongino, it's Bongino or Bondi. He's not saying...
Who would you guys prefer, Bongino or Bonnie? Okay, 7,000 to 0.
They want Dan. Of course, Dan. You know why? Because Dan understands MAGA. Dan's part of the MAGA movement. Dan's been an important piece of it and a mouthpiece for really important ideas and an advocate and a fierce warrior. He's been in the trenches. With all due respect to Pam Bondi, she's been in Florida. She represented the president. It's nice, but do you think she really gets MAGA? I don't think so. She wouldn't have behaved this way if she did. And now it's a time for choosing. It's a time for choosing. We're about to lose Dan for sure, and maybe Kash too, if she doesn't go. Now she's got some allies. I think Susie Wiles is close with her, and Susie Wiles is amazing. And look, there's not that many powerful women in the administration. Maybe she wants to keep her. She's from Florida. Susie Wiles from Florida. Trump lives in Florida. But this has gone well beyond this. Like, this could actually cost Trump in the midterms. We need to make a smart choice right now. We can't lose any of the MAGA base.
And let me just also reiterate this. And by no means did I want our very big Student Action Summit to talk about Epstein the entire, like, of all the things. I'm not like Epstein obsessed. Some people, their YouTube channel, it's all they talk about. I think that the fact that young people can't afford homes is something we should talk about a lot more than these things endlessly. But this matters a lot. And so from a media standpoint, Megyn, you know the media better than anybody else. You've been in the media. You've been outside the media. What's this Sunday night thing? What is that? So you have a July 4th weekend after the big, beautiful bill, and you leak it on a Sunday night?
To Axios.
What is that?
If you want to leak it and you want conservatives to see it, you leak it to the Daily Caller. You leak it to Fox News. You leak it to Daily Wire. You don't leak it to Axios. Our people don't read Axios. If we read Axios, it's under protest just to see what the left is saying. So it was like you saw it appear. It was like, this must be bull. There's no way this is real. There's no way. I can tell you right now, there's zero chance Dan Bongino's leaking to Axios. Zero. And cash. So, and yet today, as we came here, there's a piece in Axios that reflects very poorly on Dan, alleging Dan only freaked out once he saw in this memo that people weren't responding well to the missing minute of the tapes of Jeffrey Epstein's cell. Do you guys know this piece of the story? And that he went into a meltdown like a little child and then threw a hissy fit. So my point is not to weigh in on the truth or falsity of that. It's false. But it is to point out that's clearly a Bondi leak. Very clearly, that's a Bondi leak. So what's clear to me from this, as a member of the media, is Bondi leaked the memo to Axios, and Bondi's doubling down by trying to get Axios to dump on Dan and trying to make him be the fall guy and or Cash be the fall guy, and she will not face the cameras. If she means what she says, fine, come out and defend it. To Dan's credit, he went on Fox a couple of weeks ago, and he got beaten up pretty good for this, and said, I think Epstein killed himself. And the base went nuts. The base doesn't believe that. But he's like, if you got other proof, show it to me.
Well, if
he faced the cameras and did it, she hasn't.
I'm open to it. If that's true, why don't you just tell us the prisoners' names who are on the same cell block as Jeffrey Epstein?
There's a lot.
No, that's BS. I'm sorry. The President of the United States figured out whether we have HIPAA for federal prisoners. Tell us who the other prisoners were if no one had access to it, because all of a sudden, if we find out some of these prisoners had suspicious intel ties, what I'm getting at is at some point, we want answers at some point.
Yeah, answer the questions. That's it.
I don't want to talk about this as long as we have, and like we had this amazing summit, and we've spent all these resources in planning. But
Charlie, wait, let me just make the case for talking about it, because it's funny, because you look back at the past, Dan and Cash talked aboutEpstein all the time when they were in my business.
Well, that's the point, is that hasn't been a shtick of mine.
Mine either. I talked about it when it's bubbled up.
Right?
Same. But I am a lawyer by training, and I can smell BS when it's being shoveled to me. And it's very obvious to me right now that we've got spinners trying to mess with us in Washington on a story that is important, and here's why. Yes, obviously, child sexual abuse matters. And if we have some ring of pedophiles running around, outside of Hollywood, we need to know. But here's why it does matter. It's worthy of discussing at a place like this. It's about transparency. One of the main reasons that we voted Trump in was because we wanted real answers on real stories, and we didn't want to be BS'd anymore with a bunch of nonsense from our government that treated us like a bunch of stooges, right? Thank you. And I believe Trump is still loyal to that mission. And maybe the people who are behind that memo are loyal to that mission too, but this ain't it. That would require, especially on a story they know the base has been led down with a trail of breadcrumbs to believe something else for years. This is a story, the only way to end it, if that's your goal, is you stand in front of those cameras and you take every single question your biggest critics have for you.
So let's go through a battle plan. Let's say you're senior advisor to the president. What is the 1, 2, 3 sequencing? Press conference, you would get rid of Bondi. What else to get us back on track towards transparency? I think the DOJ should immediately move to unseal all the Epstein documents in the Southern District of New York.
Yeah. Everything.
And
everything except sexual assault material.
I think every file should be released to the public the same way as the JFK files. Let the American people decide.
Put them out there, because if there's nothing in there, then we can see there's nothing in there. Now listen, people who are truly conspiratorial, who will just never believe anything other than Jeffrey was murdered and there's a ring of pedophiles, they won't be satisfied, and that's fine. You're entitled to believe that. That's fine. You're entitled to your own beliefs. However, some percentage of skeptics will at least give them credit for opening the files. And we could have a situation where they open the files and Dan and Cash stand there and say, I don't know what was taken out of here before we got here. You know, it's possible that those files are rather disappointing and they're not to blame. I don't know. And it's possible, I just got to say this for the record, it's also possible that Jeffrey Epstein was an absolutely disgusting predator who loved just the barely legal types and did take advantage of them and didn't actually farm a bunch of girls out to a bunch of men. It's possible. And I'll say this on it. I know somebody very close to the case, who I trust implicitly, and that person has told me from the beginning that that's what happened. That Epstein was very into the girls who looked like 13, but he knew he had to hire the ones who were like 17, 18 to come in and give him massages that had the so-called happy ending, and that was really his thing. And there are over 1,000 of those.
No, I get that, but I think what people want to know is what other powerful people were involved.
Yeah, we've heard all the names who went to Epstein Island. Who went to Epstein Islands? Who specifically went on the plane? Who stayed for more than a night? Like, that's what Alan Dershowitz is saying, and he's so right about this. He was dragged through the mud by that Virginia Giuffre.
And he won his case.
He did not molest Virginia Giuffre. It was a lie, okay? And I've done this in depth, the study of this. His name was suggested to her by somebody who thought she'd sell more books if she named a famous guy, and it was suggested to her, how about Alan, who Jeffrey knew because Alan represented him when he got arrested for transportation of a minor in prostitution. And Alan, you know, he did represent Epstein. That's not great. He represented OJ. Isn't that worse? Like, that's what criminal defense attorneys do. I don't judge it. We need them. We need them to kick the tires on the system. So in any event, that's how he knew Jeffrey. They weren't buddies. He wasn't like Bill Clinton palling around with him everywhere. So she got accused. She accused him unfairly. But he is saying now he thinks the entire files should be opened, even if other men like Alan get swept up into like a web of like, you did it, and then let them rehabilitate themselves the way he did. Let them show the evidence of, I actually wasn't even in the country when I got accused. I was at a different place. I was at work. I'm on camera at the Starbucks, whatever. But why not? Given the amount of like smoke around this fire, why not just open the files?
Do you think there's any intel community involvement in this?
I wouldn't be surprised one bit. I am convinced, based on my own sources and my own reporting on this story, he wasn't one of ours.
So he was an American, which leads basically three options: MI6, Saudi, or Mossad.
Yep.
Which one would you choose?
I guess Mossad, given his connection to Ghislaine Maxwell.
So what does that mean?
Well, I mean, it's possible that that's the reason everything's getting buried, that there is some treasure trove, and it's getting buried because...
How many people here believe that? Raise your hand. Okay, I'd say about half the hands think that it's being buried because of an Israeli thing.
It could be. I really don't know.
And I have no evidence to suggest that.
No, me neither. I did think it was very odd how, look, half of you raised your hands because you've heard that theory, you've heard it debated, you have questions. But the one time Pam Bondi was asked a question about this at the cabinet meeting on Monday, she was like, and as for whether he was an agent, that I don't know. I haven't looked into that. I'll get back to you. You haven't looked into it? What do you mean? So that was kind of a fishy answer.
And Megyn, remember, Alexander Acosta in 2007, he said he was told to treat Epstein carefully because he was an intel asset. That was one of Trump's cabinet secretaries who was literally a U.S. attorney 3 hours from here in Florida. He said that himself.
Well, and let me tell you the consequences of that. His subpoena, his search warrant on Jeffrey Epstein's residence was very narrow. It was not the kind of like, let's get everything. Let's see everything inside this guy's, dressers and so on. It was very, very narrowly tailored. And to this day, that's what the FBI is stuck with. So it really is possible that Dan and Cash got in there and, in like a Geraldo and Al Capone's vault situation, opened it up and we're like, oh my gosh, there's nothing in here. Like, we did not find the magic documents or photos or evidence of anything. And why not? I don't know we'll ever know why not. I'm not sure we'll ever know, but I guess I care less about that than I do about just open the books and be fully
No,
transparent.
again, I don't want to feed into any of the, let's just say, speculative theories. But Alexander Acosta himself talked about Intel asset.
Yep.
And you have to wonder that the timing of all this, Sunday night, so you have the big, beautiful bill, you have Independence Day weekend. Why are you doing this on a Sunday night? Was it?
Bury it.
But you don't bury things on Sunday night.
You do on a holiday weekend. You do. Like,
Yeah,
people are
I guess-
away. They're traveling back from the beach on Sunday night. They're dealing with traffic. They knew they were too smart to think that they could get away with doing it on a Saturday night or on a Friday night. So they wanted the cover of like, we're doing it on like the night before a real news day. But Monday after July 4th is not a real news day. Everybody's still in transition.
So left unaddressed, I know this is a hypothetical, which I hate those questions. What if we just try to proceed, what does that mean?
If we just what?
Just try to proceed. No, don't address this. If the administration just tries to power through.
Her days are numbered. She can't recover from this. She's shot herself in the foot on her own credibility. I just don't think she's going to recover. And I'm sorry to be ungenerous, but I just don't think Pam Bondi is skilled enough to avoid making another mistake very soon. And so that'll probably be the one that gets her. Because President Trump, I understand fully, he doesn't want to offer a scalp in response to this. And I get it. He doesn't want to, and I understand why. Even though it's his own people, he doesn't want to look like he's sold out his people. And he's loyal too. He really is. He's very loyal to the people who are loyal to him, to his credit. But I think he's also extremely smart. And he can read a room better than anybody. And I think once he realizes, thanks to an event like this, et cetera, that this does matter with the base, this is not a nothing burger for them, for all the reasons we've discussed, I think he'll decide she's a goner. It's just a question of what the excuse is, more time with her family, right? And she'll be sayonara.
And so from a PR standpoint, so you would do an open press conference, take every possible question.
If I were Trump, I would say all three of you are going out and holding a presser. Everybody's welcome, all comers. And you're not leaving until, like, we're down to the Jim Acostas of the world. Like, you will stay until those kinds of people have gotten to ask questions. Because let me tell you something, another thing that's irritating about the whole way they've handled it is they're embarrassing other good people. Like, did you see Caroline Leavitt out there trying to answer questions on this?
And I think Caroline's great. Don't we like
She's
Caroline?
the best. Same.
She has nothing to do with this.
Nothing to do with it. I love her, and she has total credibility. And I watched her try to like spin that memo, which is her job, and I felt nothing but empathy for her. And
I agree with that.
And I also felt like, how dare you put her in this position? This is your stink over the DOJ. Why don't you get your own spokesperson out there to deal with it? But don't make poor Caroline sacrifice the president's credibility and hers on this dog turd of a story. So they do need to wrap it up. It should be wrapped up. In a perfect world, Trump will say, all three of you get out there, have an open presser. Anybody can answer questions, and just answer them all honestly. Short of that, like, we could get to, today's Friday, we could get to Monday with Dan gone, possibly Cash gone. Again, my reporting says Cash is staying. Others says he'll go if Bongino goes. I think one of them knows we have a country to run, and we really do need one of them there.
No, I think we need both. I mean, I'd hate to lose them both.
I do too.
And let's play this out for a second, though. Let's say Bongino leaves. Well, he's not going to keep his mouth shut. So
No, he's got one of these too.
He's got a big one of these.
Yeah.
And he will come out immediately, and he will tell his side of the story, which will not help the integrity of the administration.
No.
Right? So if you let Bongino walk, you will have somebody for years that will be bitter towards the administration, and all of us will then...
He's not going to want to hurt Trump.
No, but he'll tell the truth, and we will lose. We will be like, if Bongino can't go and fight and solve this thing, then, like, I mean, what are we doing here?
I know.
Right? If Dan Bongino, who's like one of the greatest patriots we have, cannot go and reform the FBI with Kash Patel after we win a popular vote majority,
right?
Then I will never give up. But I know for millions of people, that will be met with just a sigh of cynicism.
But think about it,
you know
Charlie.
what I mean?
Yes, 100%. And you think about, like you mentioned, Jeanine. Jeanine Pirro would take no prisoners. She's totally confirmable too. She'd be great in this role. Like, it's not like there's no bench behind Pam Bondi. Like, there is a bench. Jeanine could do it. Harmeet could do it. Even Matt Gaetz can't do it. Yeah. I mean, he could do it, but
he's not confirmable.
Yeah, he's not confirmable.
Matt Gaetz for a special prosecutor, that would be very interesting.
Now that would be fun to watch.
Matt Gaetz with a government corruption special prosecutor.
Anyway, there are other people who could take over that role. And just think about it, because I can see the untenability of Dan and Kash staying effectively working for Pam, right? Like, they're working for her, and she seems feckless, except she seems somewhat petty and personal, given the leaks I'm reading. And she seems way too focused on being a star. It reminds me of Brian Williams of NBC. Remember how it was like, it turned out he was more interested in seeing his mug on television and telling fake stories about what a badass he allegedly was and like Abbottabad, with SEAL Team 6 practically raiding the compound, than he was in being taken seriously and being a credible news anchor. And I'm sorry to say, I think she suffers from that same disease. And so she has to go.
Two final thoughts. Number one, everybody, just so you know, all going late tonight and all tomorrow, we are doing exclusive interviews for the Charlie Kirk Show right near Ballroom C for members only. So if you guys want to see interviews, we're going to be interviewing all the major names. We just had a conversation with Pete Hegseth and Tucker Carlson. We have big ones tomorrow, so it's at Ballroom C. They'll be happening all day. Just look at your agenda. That's right on there if you guys want to attend. Megyn, last question. There's 7,000 people here, most of which are students. What advice do you have for them fighting on campus, trying to figure out what they want to do with their life? Let's do a non-Epstein end to all of this.
Awesome. Be who you are. Don't pretend you're a lefty in order to win any professor's good humor. He's not worth it. Get your D on your paper because you refuse to argue that capitalism is bad, and wear it like a badge of honor. Bring it with you into your job interview. And that will make sure you align with an employer who's right for you, right? Don't say that you support Planned Parenthood the way they want you to. Don't call yourself a feminist because your teacher will give you pats on the head. Stand up for what you really believe in, and that's how we spread the good word. That's how we convert others over to where we stand, rather than just get ahead pretending we're with them, and then only once we have power tell our true feelings. It's not worth it. If anybody who came to me with a crappy GPA from one of these elite universities and then showed me all their papers that spoke up for conservatism and America and God, faith, I would hire them in an instant over somebody who emerged with a perfect GPA, who went along to get along. That's not a leader. That's a sheep. Don't be like that. Stand up for your beliefs now when it matters.
Megyn, you are amazing. God bless you. And Turning Point USA thanks you.
Thank you so much,
Megyn
you guys.
Kelly.
It's great to be with you.